awesome.
So you're into the old monster stuff?
Very much, yeah.
Yeah, same here.
What you got?
No shit.
ISIS. I'm not even gonna touch it.
Don't
Forget it. No, forget it.
Don't touch it.
It's pretty cool. The old electric store sign. So this is Allentown, Pennsylvania. I've actually never been here before, but I keep seeing signs for caves. So I guess the caving is a big thing. Is that what it's called? Is it called caving?
Well, you can go caving, but you can also like casually go into a cave. Like a lot of like the caves that you see signs for, like
Yep.
you can go and there's like a nice normal walking path. But if you go caving, that I think in a lot of ways that implies that like you're going down there with like gear and stuff and like grappling hooks and like you're gonna be squeezing through some really tight spaces that
Yeah, no, I
would
don't
give
do
anyone with claustrophobia like a total meltdown, like me.
So on my way to actually pick up a Dracula costume that was previously unknown, which is amazing because I've been collecting Ben Cooper and Collegeville costumes now for a really long time, and I have a pretty extensive collection of them. And so to find a Dracula that I was completely unaware of is pretty amazing. So, and especially since it turned out to be here in Pennsylvania, which is even crazier. So
Pretty much here.
pretty much here.
There's the Drac.
Yeah, cool.
That's awesome.
So you're into the old monster stuff?
Very much, yeah.
Yeah, same here. Have you seen those little NECA figures?
Yes, they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I've got all of them.
Do you?
Yeah, so far.
What mask went with that guy?
Okay, so that's the thing is, like, I collect these pretty heavily, the Ben Cooper Collegeville costumes.
Yeah.
I've never seen this one.
It's bizarre,
That's why I bid so much on it, because I've never seen it. All right, so I'm here in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Behind me, the Waffle House. I just met this great guy, Dave, who's a fellow monster kid like us, and I bought this never before seen Dracula costume. Turned out to be in Pennsylvania too, which is even crazier. So let's take a look at it. So here it is, Collegeville's Dracula. Mask glows in the dark with the hood. Now, I have no idea what mask goes with this, so research is going to have to be key on this one. But I have never seen this. Been collecting Collegeville Ben Cooper costumes for a really long time, and this has just never surfaced before. Let's open it. It says, "How about a few drops between friends?" But it's actually a full-size suit, similar to the Ben Cooper Deluxe costumes that were like full body length. But I mean, the coloring on this is fantastic. And I'll show you what it looks like all opened up later. But yeah, unbelievable. It's unbelievable when you find something that you've never seen before, especially in the costume world. Just goes to show that there's so many different variations, and anything that you've never seen could pop up at any time. So very cool. Now I gotta find the mask. Right, so since we're in the area, we figured we'll pop over to Allentown.
Yes, Allentown.
And go look for some antique stores and see if there's any cool since October.
Probably
See if
some Halloween stuff out.
Exactly, some good Halloween-y stuff.
Good Halloween stuff.
All right, so this place is the Wheel, W-E-I-L, I think it's Wheel, Antique Center, and let's go take a look and see what we can find. The Wheel Antique Center. That's interesting. This is the entrance? There it is. Ah, right off the bat. Right off the bat, you got a Halloween bear who's going trick-or-treating.
I wish the Halloween stuff there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, see? It's the best time of the year to go to the antique stores. Absolutely. I mean, look around. Everything's Halloween. All the vendors, all the dealers, everybody's got their Halloween stuff out. They wait all year to bring out the Halloween stock. So it's like, if you have antique stores near you, this is the time to go.
Yeah, you always see cool blow molds, costumes, just vintage Halloween, just really neat stuff. So
Pee-wee Herman.
Pee-wee's there. This is the best time of year to hit your local antique store. Guaranteed.
Yeah, for sure. This is the month we wait for. I mean, obviously we go in the winter time because all the flea markets and stuff are closed and there's very few places you can go and look for cool things like that vampire right there.
Yes.
But this month you got to go out and check out the Halloween stuff. I mean, check this out. Old school die cuts. And
It's like the thing you'd see in school. I like that.
Yeah, that does. I mean, you can still find the usual cool stuff like this, 70s Spider-Man
Camera.
I couldn't think for a second.
There you go.
Froze. I'm like, it's a
camera.
Yeah, that. But a lot of times in here too, you just never know. You never know what you can come across, and so we like going in this time.
And robots. It's always good to see robots.
Even though that one's very expensive, that guy is not worth $295. So
No.
Check your prices, kids, when you do go out shopping. You got to know what you're doing and what things are worth before you make a significant purchase like that, because you could seriously overpay.
That's cute.
But you can find things you just don't see, like things like this you just don't see. I love this penguin.
He's cute.
I just think that penguin is amazing.
Little soap bottle.
He's cute.
Bubble bath.
I like the little
He's
wind-up
cute.
guy too. I think he's neat. But these, on the other hand, have now become terrifying.
I don't know. The one on the right, I think, might have always been terrifying.
This
The
one?
Side eye.
That's the creepy one?
Yeah.
Not the Annabelle? I'm not even going to touch it.
Don't mess
Forget it. No, forget it.
Don't touch it.
Little dog in the basket. Alps, made in Japan. Oh, there he is. That's the little dog in the basket. I love old tin toys like this. It always amazes me how they still survive after all these years, considering they're made out of, paper thin tin.
Yeah, even
rusting
though...
and, just deterioration, and they still survive is amazing to me. I love looking at them.
That's so cute. The little werewolf cup.
Yeah, those old school Dixie cups, like when you were a kid. You get
I
them out
know.
of the machine. They don't have that.
I know. They really should bring them back. And I love Kit Kat clocks. I want that pink one.
This store right here has the largest selection of clocks I've ever seen in my life. I never saw this many clocks on display.
It's definitely the most clocks. And some really creepy masks.
Yeah, those early masks.
Yeah, those are like
know.
serial killer masks.
There's some great stuff here.
Found some cool die cut stuff here. It's always, even though you do see this stuff a lot, it never gets old. I love this stuff.
No, it never does get old. I love looking at these things. Even if I've seen it a million times, it doesn't matter. I still love looking at them, and they're just great. I can see why people collect die cuts, because they store really easily. Mm-hmm. They don't take up a lot of space. You could collect thousands of them, and it really wouldn't take up that much room.
No.
And yet you'd have an amazing collection of classic Halloween stuff. So I can see the appeal on collecting these. I've got a few, but I mean, some people go crazy over some of these, and some of them worth really big money.
Yeah.
Some of them early denizens, and some really expensive ones.
Yeah, some of them you just don't see, and the condition, of course, plays a big part in it, but it's still fun to see them nonetheless.
Yeah, love looking at them.
I never actually seen that one before. That was the first time seeing that particular one for me.
No, I think those are a little earlier. I think those ones are a little, probably 40s on them. If I had to guess, 40s, 50s, early stuff.
Little modern, cute kind of stuff. And, I mean, no matter what era of Halloween you collect, there was definitely a lot of stuff in the store. I love the little cookie cutters, too. I get a cookie cutter in this episode, you'll see, and I'm yet to make them. And that, of course, is a Drac deal.
That is a Drac deal. Isis came home with me.
Now, did she?
She did. And you know all about it, so,
But, I mean, that was a cool pickup. They had a great price on that, too. The whole booth was 50% off.
Yeah, and I mean, at that point, when it's 50% off, you're like, you can't say no. Vintage costume, in the box, in great shape, I can't say no. I collect Ben Cooper Collegeville costumes pretty seriously. Just the monsters, but when I come across things like that for that price, you gotta get it.
Yes. There's some cute little, like, cookie jar stuff over here, too. And got some masks. Masks are always good to see. I don't know which ones those are, though. Are you familiar with those at all?
No. No, it's just, you know, you always got to look, too, with masks. I mean, that's another area of collecting, just like die cuts. I mean, there's people that are dedicated to just collecting vintage masks. And some of them are worth huge money, too.
Yeah, because, I mean, you got to figure masks deteriorate very easily, especially if they're not kept in ideal conditions. So collecting masks is a very nerve-wracking and expensive hobby.
I love this sign.
It's so cool.
I just thought that was so cool, that McDonald's sign.
Mm-hmm. That's always cool to see. We see that once in a while.
I see that all the time. That
I know it's
Mark
like
of
the
Devil.
one thing that you always see, that Mark of the Devil.
I think there was like a
bag.
warehouse find of those or something, because that is like the most common theater, you know, handout that there is. For
you
some
see it all the
reason,
time.
There's tons of those. This is the I Dream of Jeannie costume, which was interesting to me because it's 70s. That's a 70s costume. I Dream of Jeannie being 60s.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
I like the little ice cream man tin toy on the bike.
Yeah, again with the tin stuff, it's just that's another area. I mean, there's like anything else, there's a million different areas of collecting that you can get into and take it.
That's cool.
Take it seriously. I mean, vintage Halloween, of course, is one, which is why a lot of this stuff is out. But then the Christmas stuff comes out, and then, you know, the tin stuff is always around, and it's pretty cool to see.
I like these too, the old postcards. Love seeing those. And is that a Tootsie Roll truck?
Tootsie Toy.
Ah, and that's really cool. That's the Green Hornet.
Very good.
Black Beauty.
Very good.
I know a couple things.
It's you.
A couple things.
Stuff.
I know a couple things.
Who's the Green Hornet's sidekick?
Kato.
Very good. Wow.
I don't even know how I know this stuff. I really don't.
That's good. That's good.
I think that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, those early postcards are amazing.
That's cute too. There's so much like neat, kitschy Halloween stuff in the store. In all these places. That's really cool to see. I love the old skeleton ones.
Yeah.
Those are awesome. And the noisemakers are so cool.
The thing that's cool about vintage Halloween is there's so many different areas of it.
Yeah.
Like right there, you're looking at 4 or 5 different things. You're looking at noisemakers, candles, die cuts, blow molds. There's so much different stuff to collect that you could collect it infinitely for your entire life and never complete your collection. There'll always be things you were never able to find, or that you never came across, or stuff that was just out of your price range. And so it's like it's a cool thing to collect because you can just keep going with no limit in sight. Whereas like a lot of 80s toys, you know, there is literally a limit. You can say, okay, well, this is all the Transformers that were ever made, so you can collect every single one and complete the collection, or
actually documented.
Complete the GoBots. I don't know why you'd want to, but you could complete the GoBots. Complete all the different, you know, collections of things. Whereas like vintage Halloween, you could never complete
kind of
your
infinite
collection. Yeah.
Because it predates so many things. Like, these are cool. You know, we see different ones of these all the time. There's so many different designs like that, where they're like little jointed little pumpkin guys. But, you know, how many of them are there? Is that even documented?
Yeah, I mean, there's collector guides on Halloween stuff, but even those lack a lot of stuff. There's still a lot of stuff missing from even the best guides that are out there. There's still new discoveries, things that pop up that people hadn't seen before. And then you got stuff where there's only 1 or 2 examples known to exist. That's not really a thing with like 70s and 80s toys, where, you know, at least, you know, like, okay, this is how many were made, and this is, you know, what you do to collect the line. The early stuff like this, who knows?
Yeah. It's a nice, vibrant one. These are cool. They're bubblegum machines, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. And of course, look what we found. That's cool. We see that once in a while, actually, but it's kind of neat that so many of them still exist.
I can remember when I was a little kid and I was going to toy shows as a little kid, that Howdy Doody was still heavily collected.
Yeah.
There was still a lot of people, like just like Hopalong Cassidy, or you know, I don't know if it's Gene Autry stuff, or like that the Western era stuff. You know, Davy Crockett, things like that. Lone Ranger and Tonto, and now that stuff has dropped off tremendously.
Well,
Like,
it gets generationed out. You got to
Yeah.
realize the age groups that these primarily cater to, and realize that unfortunately the people that grew up with it are passing away, you know, and those are the people that it means the most to. So that collector market, unfortunately, you know,
yeah, I
they're
mean,
gone.
if things don't transcend time,
Yeah.
like for example, Star Trek has transcended time.
Yeah.
Star Wars, you know,
There's
if
kids that still like Star Wars, so it'll
yeah.
keep going.
yeah, it's kind of like infinite. You
Mm.
know, there'll always be the next generations of that stuff. Whereas things like Howdy Doody and Davy Crockett, just it didn't carry over.
Yeah.
So now you see it more and more because the demand for it is just less and less. Doesn't make it any less cool. There's still
Yeah, so
plenty of
cool.
cool things, but it's a lot easier to find than it used to be, and a lot cheaper too.
Mm.
Elvis is another area.
Yeah,
I see a
Elvis
lot
come
of
way down.
I see a lot of vintage Elvis stuff popping up now too. It's like just kind of
Yeah.
like you said, generation down.
Yep, and it's one of those things that, you know, even despite all the movies that have come out about Elvis in the last, like, 5 years even, it's still not catching a newer audience, at least not enough to sustain a collector market.
Yeah, I mean the rarest stuff will always be truly rare.
Yeah.
You know, of anything, I think.
That one's cool, and I actually found out that this might be the first one of the Witch that Rennock made, so that's a pretty cool one. Thank you, Heath, for that information. If you want to know anything about motionettes, he's the guy. And there's just so much neat little Halloween stuff. I like the potato chips thing with the Humpty
I
Dumpty
love
back
that.
there. That's great advertising.
I love advertising. I love advertising.
Advertising and like all the different mascots, I think, are just, it's so cool. I love this stuff.
I know, I wanted to make it to that advertising show. I'm going to have to do that. The next one that comes, I'm definitely going to have to make it to that one.
Yeah,
Problem
we
is,
keep missing
October
out.
is just so filled
Yeah.
with so much
It's
stuff.
like, please stop putting stuff in October. We already have 8 billion things we got to decide between. Like, stop making it difficult.
Yeah, we got to space it out a little bit.
Yeah, like so many people do so much in October. Putting anything new in October is just a terrible idea. These are cute, though.
Just for us.
Yeah, just for us.
It's a terrible idea.
Now, I know
just
a lot
for
of
us.
other people that are, like, you know, struggling to decide between things because it's October. People want to go do spooky stuff with their friends. And again, I love these little cookie cutters. I think they're so cute. But this is where you found this, and I absolutely love this. We did pick this up, and eventually I am going to make some Dark Red Dracula cookies.
So that actually was a Drac deal.
That was a Drac deal.
It just, you didn't see little Dracula pop up. But it was, in fact, a Drac deal.
Yes, we did pick that up. These are cute. I love the ones where it's like you can make the sugar cookies and then you can decorate them. And now I'm thinking I really need to make those.
Yeah, that ghost one was pretty cool. I'm surprised you didn't get that one, too.
I know. Now we gotta go back because I want to get the rest of these cookie cutters. I think they're adorable. But, like, these are, like, they remind you of being a kid because, like, your grandmom or your mom or your aunt, somebody in the family was making these. And, like, decorating them all cute with little sprinkles and everything.
Really? You did that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I was, like, when I was like, really little, I would always make cookies and decorate them. That was, like, one of the first things I learned how to make. But there's some really cool cups over in here, too. I know that we kind of go through and show them. And, I mean, you see these things a lot, but it's still cool to see. And, like, we all kind of grew up with the character glasses, like, you know, the Disney ones. And then here's a lamp of your father, which is hilarious.
I know, they're using the case.
And then, oh, those are cute. Then more advertising. It's just neat to see, like, who saved this stuff. I mean, obviously, it's probably in somebody's basement. They just
Well, a lot
happen
of
to be
times, I know, because I collected monster cereal boxes for a long time, and a lot of the ones that I got in my collection came from couponers, and couponers would just save the little UPC codes off the boxes, or cut those off to mail them in, and then for some reason save the boxes. So a lot of times I would get calls from couponers who would say, "Oh, I've got these old, you know, cereal. I saw your ad, and I've got these old cereal boxes in my attic, and you know, I was a couponer back in the 70s or whatever, and I still got these old boxes, and you know, I got some amazing monster boxes that way."
there. Oh, I bet.
You know, it doesn't really happen anymore because now you can just pretty much look up everything on eBay, which is what everybody does.
Yeah.
Even the old timers that you meet at yard sales now You know, you'll go to a yard sale and be like, oh look, it's a sweet little old couple. They're clearing out their house from their kids' stuff, and you'll see printouts.
Yeah, the
that,
eBay printouts.
The eBay printouts that show like every single price of everything, and it's always the stuff that
the
is
asking prices.
The asking price. It's never the
top
sold
notch
prices. Yeah.
It's like, well, this person tried to get $500 for it. It's like,
and
yeah,
I'll sell it to you for $4.99. You'll save a little bit, and you don't have to pay for the shipping.
It's here now, pal. Doing you a favor. Okay, yeah, I know.
Favor.
Like,
so,
really?
But back in the day, it was like, you know, you could legitimately find some great stuff that way, and I think that's why a lot of food packaging survives, aside from, you know, hoarder house situations and stuff like that, and
sometimes like people are clearing out an old convenience store, stuff like that, like a place that's just been sitting dormant for years.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is found that way. From
you know, with all the old store stock finds or new, how are they? I always forget how that's worded.
I know I have a Count Chocula Series 1 box, the very first Count Chocula box that was ever released, and that came from a hoarder's house where the person had just flattened all their cereal boxes their whole lives and just threw them in the basement.
That's insane.
And it was found in the basement, just like.
But you know what though? Those are the kind of people that like.
It's a good thing they did it. You know,
that's why that stuff survives.
Yeah, it's crazy. We've ripped through a lot of really cool stuff here. All these
really
great vintage die cuts.
Those are little ones too, which makes them even cuter. They're probably about like 6 inches tall.
Yeah, those are amazing. And that eyeball.
Yeah, the little eyeball bucket
thing was really cool. I probably should have grabbed that. I'll probably never see that again. That was such a cool little.
Those are cool.
Cool little thing. Yeah, there's just some really great stuff in this clip we went through, and which you just saw. Some great Halloween stuff, and this is a great store. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here.
Yeah, and it's like right off the highway, so it's easy to get to. You know, it's around a lot of stuff too, so it's definitely a spot that's worth stopping by. And this is adorable. I absolutely love this little pumpkin lantern. And of course, we've got some classics over here. We've got Boris. We've got Bela. Some more die cuts.
I like when you see them in the original packaging.
Yeah.
I just got one myself, an early one in the original packaging, a Bisa one that I'm in love with, and it's cool to see them like this in the original package, like store stock. You know,
yeah.
It kind of amazes me when you see that, because you think to yourself, like, how was this purchased and then for some reason just never opened and used? It's kind of unbelievable.
Unless it was like found in an old store and it just has stayed in, you know, collectors' hands the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. It's always possible.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of great stories about finding things in old abandoned, you know, convenience stores and, you know, just places that were like kind of forgotten at the time. People are doing that now with VHS, old shut down video stores. They're finding like cool displays and stuff. So
yeah, and that's pretty awesome, because I mean, I guess it's around that time where you would expect people to start finding that kind
these
of
were
stuff.
early. These the
witches.
The little witch blow molds. Those were early ones.
Those are cool. And these are old.
I think the reason why I didn't grab those witches is because these actually aren't vintage right here. And that kind of threw me off. Sometimes in antique booths, you know, and that's like, for me, it's like a personal thing, but, you know, for people who are professional antique pickers, they know that you always got to check every little thing. But when I see a lot of like reproduction stuff or modern stuff, it makes me think that all the booth is going to be that. So if it's something I haven't seen, I'll just assume that, well, that's probably reproduction too, or that's probably modern too, and that's kind of a mistake on my part, because those witches were early, or earlier, and those die cuts were reproduction. Die cuts I know, but plastic stuff I don't know.
Plastic stuff's tough.
It is, because there's a lot of remakes and knockoffs, especially once you start getting into the what is it? Is it the paper mache stuff?
Yeah.
You know, then it's like.
I know, it's like
some
I'm
of it
afraid to buy those because I know that I don't know about those.
And there's like vintage reproductions too. So you've got like the true vintage, then there's the vintage reproductions that were made, you know, 30, 40 years ago or whatever, and then you've got the more modern stuff. So yeah, it's tough. You really gotta know your stuff.
There's some paper mache right there.
Yep. Now, and then like the faces, sometimes the pumpkin will be original, but the face will be reproduction.
Yeah, the little insert.
You know, so then yeah, it gets confusing a little bit. But sometimes you can tell. I mean, with die cuts, I can always tell. You know, I'm really knowledgeable with those. But once it gets into the paper mache stuff, I'm like, eh. And especially at the price, like you got to know what you're doing, because that stuff is really expensive. I was looking at one the other day that was like $300, $400, and I thought he was amazing, but I don't know well enough to know.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to mess up on that risk.
That's an early die cut right there.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, $250. I don't know if that's that might be out of the stratosphere.
It would suck to spend that much and then to find out that
It's worth a quarter of that.
oops. Trying to make our Dracula cookies. And you won't be able to get one, but more on that later. I've got an idea.
So there it is, Wheel Antique Center. Got some cool stuff
We
too.
bought some things.
Bought a couple of
And
things.
for a great price. We got this. We paid like
I mean, literally, what was it $12.50?
yeah, it was $12.50.
$12.50 for a complete ISIS costume. That's a no-brainer. That's
And-
a no-brainer.
Because it's so adorable. It's a Dracula cookie cutter. So I'm gonna make some dark-eyed Dracula cookies.
Yeah. So
Maybe you can get one. Follow for more.